Welcome to the classroom. Now today's lesson is on Cloudians themselves and whether or not you should really be thinking about picking this archetype up in the near future. Now let's get into the lesson. In this lesson, I won't be going over every card that comes with this archetype. What I will be doing is going over the very key cards and skimming over the others and the general idea on what they do. After that, I'll be giving a grade to the archetype ranging from F to A+, then an overall grade after that. And yes, I will go over why I gave them that grade in the first place. So, before I get into the archetype and its key cards and other effects, I feel I should bring up when this archetype came to be and why the effects are the way they are. Cloudians came out in the TCG in 2007 in the Glares Assault box. This was about the time the anime was in the GX era and Konami had different ideas on effect mechanics and were trying different ones out. Cloudians was one of the archetypes that ended up with one of those mechanics. Said mechanic in this case was the counter mechanic. What this means is that to use your effects, you need to generate counters, and when you get the amount you need, you can then activate the effects by spending those counters. And doing this, Konami ended up making an economy system for the game. Now, I'm not going into the rabbit hole on how this affected the archetype, but while I'm talking about this archetype and its effects, do keep in mind that you need those counters for a good share of your monster spells and trap. Now that you know a little history about this archetype, let's talk about the key cards themselves. Now, the way I'm going to do this is the following. 1. The name of the card. 2. The general effect of said card. And 3. Why this is important to this archetype. Now that we have the ground rules, let's get into the key cards. First up is Cloudian Acid Cloud. Again, this is a general summary of this card's effects. Cannot be destroyed by battle. If in defense position, destroy it. When normal summon, place one counter on this monster, plus another for each other Cloudian one summoned. Remove 2 counters to destroy one spell or trap card. First thing first, that last part is not a once per turn effect. This means that if you get enough fog counters on acid, you can destroy multiple spells and traps within a single turn. Now, you would think that that makes this card pretty overpowered, seeing how it also can't be destroyed by battle as well. Thing is, you need multiple fog counters to do so, and with your attack stats being less than 1,000, you're more likely to take a lot of damage before you get enough counters to even think about destroying spells or trap cards. Then there's the fact this card will more than likely die before you get there because there is a huge amount of ways to destroy or banish monsters without even attacking in the game. Sadly, you are running this card not because you want to, but you need to, seeing how it's the only back row destruction you have for this archetype. Next up, we have Acid Cloud's counterpart, Cloudian Stratos. Just like Acid, it has the following effects to it. Cannot be destroyed by battle. If in defense position, destroy it. When normal summoned, place one counter on this monster, plus another for each other Cloudian when summoned. Now this is where Stratos is different to Acid. Remove 2 counters to destroy one monster. Now again, like Acid, that destroy a monster effect is not a once per turn effect, meaning that you can activate it over and over again till your opponent has no more monsters, or you run out of counters. Sadly, just like Acid, this card has the same problems of being low attack and being destroyed if your opponent forces it into defense position. That also on top of the fact the game has plenty of ways to destroy or banish monsters without even going into the battle phase. Really, the only reason you run this card is all due to the fact you have no other way to destroy monsters other than this card's effect. So at the end of the day, you're forced to use it. Now on to the next vape cloud, Cloudian Atlas, or Big Smoke. Again, same as the last two, but one different part to his effect. Cannot be destroyed by battle. If in defense position, destroy it. When normal summoned, place one counter on this monster, plus another for each other Cloudian when summoned. Now this next effect is where things get interesting. Remove 3 counters from the field to discard one random card for your opponent's hand. Yes, you heard that right. Remove a card from your opponent's hand at random, and again, not a once per turn effect. This means you could technically destroy your opponent's hand before they even use it. That is, if you get enough counters on the field to do that. Now, where the last 2 are needed for the deck, this guy, not so much. That's due to the fact you don't always want to give your opponent free graveyard setup. That's what old Atlas over here would do. So if you really want to use this guy, run one and that's it. Now that we covered the main 3 monsters that deal with this archetype, let's talk about the other cards that let you get their effects to actually activate. Because let's be real, without these next couple cards, Cloudians would be worse than dead at this point. First up in the ways you generate fog counters is this little guy right here, Cloudian Ghost Fog. Unlike others that need to be in attack position at all times and can't be destroyed by battle, this guy is different. That is all due to his effect. All battle damage that deals with this monster becomes 0. When destroyed by battle, place fog counters on face-up monsters equal to the level of the monster that destroyed Ghost Fog. The idea behind this guy is to just run him into the biggest monster your opponent has at the time, and then place fog counters on whatever monster you want. The problem with that, though, is the fact you more than likely don't have any other Cloudian monsters out yet when you do this, so all those counters are being placed on your opponent's monster. Thing is, this isn't the best plan in the world, seeing how you want those counters on your own monsters. So yeah, not the best way to get counters out, but one of the only fast ways to do so. Again, not running it because you want to, but need to. Next up is one of your more reliable ways to generate fog counters, Cloudian Storm Dragon. Now, just like Acid, Atlas, and Karastratos, Storm can't be destroyed by battle or be put into defense position without being destroyed. After that, his effect changes. Cannot be normal, summoned, or set. Can only be special summoned by banishing a Cloudian monster from the graveyard. Once per turn, place a fog counter on a monster. Like I said, not as fast but more reliable, as you know that you're going to get a counter on one of your Cloudian monsters a turn. The only downside to this monster is that you can't normal summon it. You have to special summon it. This makes it harder to get your fog counter assembly line going. At this point, do I even have to say it? Yes? Okay, fine. You are not using this card because it's good. You're using it because you don't have anything better to use. And now for the final fog counter generator, Cloudian Squall. This card does one thing and one thing only, spitting out fog counters. Hell, its own effect says it all. During each of your standby phases, place one fog counter on every face-up monster. That's it. That's all it does. As continuous spell cards go, this one is one of the most simple to understand and straightforward as they come. I blame the time and when it was released for that. I really do. This card is only worthwhile to run because it's one of the only ways you can generate fog counters. Otherwise, I tell you to burn this card as soon as possible. Run 2 or 3 of this card and hope your opponent doesn't have a way to destroy this card before you get your deck up and running. Next topic, please. And now for the only monster in the Cloudian lineup that I can even consider being a boss monster, because the original is completely and utterly dog crap. Cloudian Nimbusman. Now, just like the others that we have covered already, this big brained fellow can't be destroyed by battle, and being placed into defense position makes him disappear faster than most vape clouds. Though he does have some other tricks up his cloud-like sleeves with his effects. Tribute any water monster for the tribute summon of this card. When tribute summoned, place a fog counter on this card for each water monster tributed. Gain 500 attack for each fog counter on the field. So in essence, you have a cloud cannon that it gets bigger over time, but a gust of wind will take him out if your opponent puts him into defense position. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is more preferable as a boss monster than the original for the simple fact this guy is easier to summon and has an effect that still deals with this archetype. The original boss, not even close. So yeah, only run one and hope you can get him big enough to start using DBZ meme quotes. And now for the other cards that fall under Cloudians as an archetype. Note, I will not go into as much depth as I did the other cards because just me giving a general idea on its effects should tell you all you need to know. Now let's get started. Eye of the Typhoon. Can't die to battle, but dies to being put into defense position. When it attacks, your opponent's monsters go into defense. This is the supposed boss monster with 3000 attack and 0 defense. That's a level 8. Don't run it. Ever. Poison Cloud. If face up and was destroyed by battle, Destroy the monster that killed it and do 400 damage to the opponent. With 0 attack and 1000 defense, I'm pretty sure you don't want this in attack mode. Also, why in the hell is there burn damage in an archetype that needs counters? Sheep Cloud. When destroyed by battle, summon 2 tokens with 0 attack and defense in defense position. Can't be tributed except for a Cloudian. It's okay, you can get counters on Acid Ultis or Kara Stratos if you have these tokens on the field, seeing how they count as Cloudians when they're out there. Smoke Ball. A level 1 normal monster with absolutely no survival instincts within its body. I think a sea cucumber has more survival instincts than this little guy. Turbulence. Can't die to battle, dies to being in the defense position. When summoned, place a fog counter on it for each Cloudian you have out. Remove a counter to summon a smoke ball from the deck or grave. Note, not a once per turn, so swarming with a ball of cotton candy. Really good idea. Note the sarcasm. That's the monsters. Now for the spells and traps. Diamond Dust Cyclone. Quick play spell. Select the monster with 4 or more counters, destroy it, and draw a card for every 4 counters on it. This would be halfway decent removal for the archetype if it wasn't for the fact you need 4 counters alone. As for the draw 1 for every 4 counters, nice in thought, bad in execution. Fog Control. Quick play spell, tribute 1 face-up Cloudian to place 3 for counters on a monster. Yes, this is clearly a good card, seeing how Cloudians have so many ways to get their monsters out on the field that having 1 tribute for more counters should clearly not be a problem, right? Oh wait, they can't. Lucky Cloud. In the end phase, if you summon 2 or more of the same name Cloudian this turn, draw 2 cards. Ah yes, this is what Cloudians need. A poly grade that activates during your end phase. Surely nothing can go wrong with this idea, right? Just no. Just no. Natural Disaster. Continuous Trap. Burn your opponent for 250 damage for every card they control that is destroyed and sent to the graveyard by a Cloudian effect. Okay, so Cloudians use effects that need counters to use those effects. Yet, this random trap card burns your opponent for every card that is destroyed by a Cloudian effect. Tell me, class, can you spell bad card for me? Raging Cloudian. Activate only when a Cloudian is destroyed by its own effect. Special summon it back from the graveyard with a fog counter and in attack position. It cannot be changed to defense position by a card effect. This card is so close, so damn close to being good. But no, it misses it by just a hair by needing your Cloudian to be destroyed by its own effect. I can at least see why it's raging though. Rainstorm. Select the Cloudian you control and reduce its attack depending on the effect you choose. 1000 LP, destroy 1 spell or trap. 2000 LP, destroy 2 cards your opponent controls. Almost had another winner here. The fact your monsters don't reach past 1000 makes this card unplayable unless you use Nimbusman or Typhoon. Now if your monsters had a little bit more attack to them, then I could have seen this being better with the deck, seeing how it's not targeting. Surely this card has every right to be storming mad. Summon Cloud. Continuous spell. During your main phase, if you control no monster, special summon a Cloudian or level 4 or lower from the grave. If you do so, destroy this card. There are times where I think Konami is on some stuff, and cards like this are why. It's a Monster Reborn card. You have no reason to make this a continuous spell card. No reason at all. Updraft. Remove all fog counters from the field. Burn your opponent for 150 damage for each one. Another burn card in an archetype that has no damn reason for doing burn damage. And that's on top of the fact you are removing all of your goddamn fog counters. Now this card isn't in Duel Links at this time, but may as well cover it just in case. Cloudian Aerosol. Discard a Cloudian monster, then target 1 face-up monster in the field. Place counters on it up to the level of the discarded card. Banish this card and 1 Cloudian in the graveyard, special summon 1 Cloudian from the deck. This card here is needed for this archetype to have a little bit more playability than what it is now. Grave setup, fog counter generating, and a small amount of swarming. Everything a client deck needs to get through the day. Now for the grades. For this grading system, I'll be looking for the following within the Cloudian support, and grading Cloudians on how well they do within that category. After that, I'll then give Cloudians a final overall grade. First on the list is consistency. What consistency? The deck has no way to search out for any of the key combo pieces besides Aerosol, and the cards that let the deck draw more than one card a turn are too slow or need way too much setup to be reliable. The only way to make this consistent is to use Aerosol and Diamond Dust together, but you need to run Typhoon to get a draw 2 off of Diamond. The only saving grace for Cloudians is Aerosol, and we sadly do not have that in Duel Links at this time. So for now, I'm giving Cloudians an F, but if we get Aerosol, I bump this to a D-, seeing how that's only one search for the deck, but that may be enough with Duel Links format. Next up is power. When it comes to power, Cloudians don't have the upright brute strength that other archetypes do. What they have is their effects and the fact that they can't be destroyed by battle. That's all they have. Because of this, Cloudians are slow to set up and slow to shut down your opponent. But once set up, Cloudians have a tendency to stick around for a while. So the main problem with Cloudians isn't so much sticking around, it's getting there in the first place. Due to the effects and the fact they don't go away without some serious elbow grease once they set up, I'll be generous and give them a D+. Also note, Aerosol makes them have a little bit faster setup time, so that would be a solid D+ if we get Aerosol. Recovery is next, and this will be a pretty short one. Cloudians don't have any. If their board is wiped out or they have any effect negated, they're done for, and that's not on top of the fact you can still be destroyed or banished by your opponent's effects at any point in time. Solid F for this one. Protection. Yeah, Cloudians have one solid bit of protection in the fact they can't be destroyed by battle, and with the right tech cards, you can make that you still take the damage meme a non-issue. D- for this one, just because you need to set up your protection with tech cards, so you need to open with just the right hand to really make anything of it. And last but not least is versatility. Cloudians and Duel Links don't have searching or ways to draw multiple cards a turn. Due to this, the deck has to use a very limited amount of tech cards, so they can use more important ones. Due to this, the deck is packed into a 20 card deck that needs to hope it can open the right cards, so versatility isn't really one of its main concerns, though this could change in the future depending on what is released into Duel Links. So for versatility, I'm giving Cloudians a D- due to the fact it has some wiggle room to play with, but not a lot. Overall, the final grade I'm giving Cloudians is a D-. Cloudians just don't have the ability to set up fast enough for their playstyle, on top of the fact their attack power hamstrings them even worse. The deck just doesn't have a way to really keep up with faster and more impactful decks that are in the game. And that is the end of this lesson. I hope you learned a lot from this class, and if you enjoyed it, I really hope you will hit that sub button and turn on the notifications so you won't miss out on the next class. Also, if you want to see me teach a class live, then join me and your other classmates over at Twitch, where almost every week I'll be using a different archetype and going over other information you need to know about as well. Oh, and almost forgot about the Discord. Join the Discord as well. In there, I do a guide on the archetypes I've done for the class so far, so you can catch up and be up to date on what we have worked on so far. I hope to see you in the class in the future and in the Discord as well. Till the next class, happy dueling!